Hello, everybody. Alongside Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Sir, and this is the Pick Six, the podcast by the Attractions Group, where we bring you the latest top stories from the attractions and amusement industry.
Now, before we delve into this week's pick six, let me shit. Before we delve into this week's pick six, let me remind our listeners where they can tune in to the Attractions Group podcast. You can catch us on your favorite podcast platforms, and be sure to subscribe, like, and follow. Ryan, what do we got to start us
All
off?
right, let's start with story number one. SeaWorld is expected to launch new attractions and themed rides this year as part of its 60th anniversary celebration, which begins March 21st. The additions include new rides such as Catapult Falls at SeaWorld San Antonio in Texas, Penguin Track at SeaWorld Orlando in Florida, and Jewels of the Sea, the jellyfish experience at SeaWorld San Diego in California, as well as a Cirque-style show and limited edition merchandise such as food and beverage. Very cool. So I love the limited run merchandise stuff. I think that's really cool. But which of these new attractions do you think looks most enticing to you?
Catapult Falls at SeaWorld San Antonio. They've been delayed in getting that open. So, one of the fun things that they did this year it's really, really going to open. So, that's going to open just in a few weeks.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Penguin Trek at SeaWorld Orlando looks awesome. I think that's going to be really cool. That's taken over the old penguin exhibit, which has penguins now, but had penguins and a dark ride, and the dark ride went away, and now it's going to be a ride in penguins. So if that's not enough of a mouthful, I don't know what is. But you know, the sneaker is the Jewels of the Sea jellyfish experience at San Antonio, or I'm sorry, at San Diego,
Mm-hmm.
because everything that we've heard involves SeaWorld not investing in animals and more investing in rides. So it's kind of cool that they're doing that, don't you think?
I agree. And there's just a lot going on at the SeaWorld parks. It's given me an opportunity on my blog, different things to write about. I'm very excited about what SeaWorld has to offer this year.
Absolutely. What's next?
I like turtles.
This season, Kennywood is set to welcome back one of its iconic rides following an extensive months long preservation effort. We're talking about the Turtle, a unique 97-year-old attraction and the last of its kind globally, temporarily closed in mid August for a crucial center foundation replacement last summer. In a recent Facebook update, Kennywood announced that the successful completion of the center foundation reconstruction was complete, and within the next step, it's going to be, just the connection of the wires, and alongside the essential repairs, the ride's 6 turtle cars have also undergone a fresh coat of paint. I have my Kennywood season pass. This is going to be something I'm going to have so much fun riding.
Well, you do like turtles, but yeah, it's kind of cool because Kennywood, it would be so easy for them to throw in the towel on all these 60, 70, 80-year-old attractions, but they keep on bringing them back. They understand that that's what people go to Kennywood for. They understand their market, and they make the investment to keep these rides alive and well for more generations.
They do. What's next?
All right, what's next? So on Saturday, over 250 roller coaster enthusiasts convened in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for the East Coaster event organized by the American Coaster Enthusiast. Gathering showcased engaging presentations from amusement and theme park operators, along with ride manufacturers, unveiling insights into the upcoming season's roller coasters and other exciting additions. Featured parks in the presentations include Dorney Park, Hershey Park, Holiday World, Dollywood, Knoebels. The event held at the Red Lion Hotel in Harrisburg spanned from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Long day, but I'm a sucker for these presentations because I want to know everything about this industry.
You're right, Ryan. It is a long day, but well worth it if you are into the industry like you and I are. I mean, I just really enjoy seeing all the different presentations. You get to learn a lot more than what the parks are sharing on social media or on their website. You get those behind the scene looks, those first looks of construction of new attractions and things like that. So, yeah, I think Ace, they do a phenomenal job, putting on events, and especially during the off season months.
Yeah, I agree. And the cool part about Ace is that it's not a super niche thing anymore. It's an organization that has clout. So, parks often choose to have relationships with them, and if they choose not to, it's kind of like it's your choice. But I like the things that they're doing. I like the preservation they do, and I do like how it's a lot more family oriented now. It used to be just weirdos like you and I that were in it, like when I first got involved in the industry. But nowadays, it's husband, wife, and their kids. They just love riding coasters and they want to know everything about them.
Yeah, I mean, just a great organization. And if you're not an ACE member, go online, aceonline.org, and find out more about the club.
Awesome, cool. Yep. Next story. Right.
In a thrilling anticipation of warmer days, Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, just outside of Chicago, has set the stage for the 2024 season with an opening date slated for Saturday, April 20th at 10:30 a.m. Adding to the excitement, the park unveils its latest attraction, Sky Striker. It's a high-flying pendulum ride. As riders swing through the skies at speeds of 75 miles per hour, they're reaching a height of 172 feet. The unique experience offers a free fall sensation like no other, a maximum thrills adventure that promises to elevate the amusement park experience to new heights.
Yeah, Six Flags have added a bunch of these swinging pendulum rides, but they seem to be very good crowd pleasers, and they look great.
Oh, yeah, they look fantastic. And I plan to visit Six Flags Great America there up in Gurnee, Illinois, multiple times this summer. You're going to have to go with me, Ryan, and we'll ride this together.
I've never been. I would love to take you up on that. That's a great offer. It's a great offer, but I won't take it. I've been watching a lot of Shark Tank recently. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Exciting details have emerged about the upcoming world's first Wizard of Oz land at Warner Brothers Movie World on Australia's Gold Coast. This innovative addition features two new family roller coasters and immersive thematic elements such as projection mapping, stunning sculptures, and facades along with the yellow brick road. The park has unveiled the names of the new roller coasters. Flight of the Wicked Witch, a Vekoma suspended family coaster reaching 62 feet in height and nearly 42-mile-per-hour top speed, and the Kansas Twister, a two-track racing Vekoma family boomerang with heights of 72 feet and a top speed of 36 miles per hour. While the opening day is yet to be announced, the anticipation for this enchanting experience is very much building. Now, to be clear, this is the first like actual licensed MGM Wizard of Oz world, but I mean even Cincinnati's Coney Island had the Land of Oz, but this was before you could like you could get away with that sort of thing back in the day is what I'm saying, you know?
When the news broke, I received a text message from my daughter, and she had sent it also to my wife and her husband, and she said, "This looks really cool. Let's all go to Australia." So maybe a trip to Australia is in my future there, but it looks really cool. It really does.
I completely agree, and I would love to see because The Wizard of Oz still holds up today, obviously. Brilliant movie. Um But the thing about it is it was using 1930 whatever technology to do the movie, and I feel like 2024 technology can look in real life can look a lot like 19, I think 34, uh, movie technology. So I think that's, like, a particularly exciting angle to take because I feel like you can go there and even if it looks less real, it can actually look more like the movie. Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense to me, and I think it's going to be amazing. And who knows? Maybe my daughter will be able to convince us to go.
Well, it's a long flight, it's a whole other country, and the toilets flush the other way. It's called the Coriolis effect. And I know if you're a scientist, it's not true, but I like to bring that non-true fact up every time somebody mentions Australia. But very, very cool. All right. This is the last one? Yeah. Yeah, this is you.
Yes. All right. There are unveiled plans for a comprehensive expansion and enhancement of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and Museum located in Canton, Ohio, spanning the next 3 to 5 years. This ambitious $80 million project encompasses the modernization of the 120,000 square foot museum, along with the addition of an 18,500 square foot event center complex and an 8,000 square foot grand lobby. The latter includes storage space and office and interactive exhibition gallery spaces, marking a significant evolution for this iconic institution. The goal of the project is to make the Pro Football Hall of Fame a leading innovator in museums and interactive spaces. The new look is hoping to give the next generation of visitors a dynamic and engaging experience. Now, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Ryan, have you ever been there?
I have not. Um, I was gonna ask you this because you would be a good question or person to ask this question to, but the Baseball Hall of Fame is in the middle of nowhere, and yeah,
Cooperstown,
and
yes, middle
people
of nowhere.
go. So I feel like a lot of people know where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is, but it's not really the same pilgrimage. Why do you think that is? Or first of all, do you agree with me? And why do you think that is? If you think it's true?
I think it's because, baseball just being the national pastime, kids grew up with it and, their dads watch baseball, their grandparents watch baseball, so everybody kind of grew up with it. So I think that's why it has a little bit more of a connection across the country and why people will go to Cooperstown. They've made that just a special place. It's like that magical place, like Field of Dreams. Everybody's kind of heard of it. They got to go see it. So I think it has a little more alert to it that way. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, I mean, it's very well done. It's a great museum, a great exhibit of all the great players that play in the National Football League. I highly recommend if you're a football fan or just a sports fan in general, checking it out. Uh, it's located in a pretty easy place to get to, in Ohio there. So, yeah, I think it's exciting to see the money that's going into it, make it more interactive in that. I think it'll be able to keep the younger generation's interest by having it, more active and more up to date. So I think it's,
Yeah. So I mean, I take it you've been there, right?
oh yeah, many times.
Okay. So is it is it more like a modern museum? I mean, I know that that's their plan now is to make it more interactive and stuff, but is it more similar to a modern museum as it is now, or is it like an old school like exhibit and
I'd
you
say
look at a
I'd say
jersey?
more I'd say more modern, museum where, it's you make your way around, up and down the halls and that in the different rooms to see the different, whether it's the jerseys that you see or the great moments in NFL history. And then you have, the areas where you have all the inductees in there. And you just kind of move down the line. You're just reading about each one of them. And there's a lot of just it brings back memories, when I go of all the, players that I watched when I first became interested in football
Mhm.
or other ones that I heard about, after I got interested that I missed their playing days. I caught the tail end of Gale Sayers, a player like that, or Dick Butkus. So to be able to go to that museum and read about those players, for me, if you're a football fan, it's a must do.
Cool. Yeah. So make sure you check out the Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. All right. So let's pause for a moment and we're going to give a shout out to Kalen Profit. 5,400 rides on Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens, Tampa in under 2 years. Um, that's quite an accomplishment. I've only ridden it once.
It is quite an accomplishment, and particularly that it's been there for less than 2 years. Now, granted, the park's open daily, so that adds a little bit more time. That's almost the equivalent of having 4 or 5 seasons to do it at a seasonal park like a Cedar Point, a Kings Island, a Carowinds, or something like that. But no, I mean that's a phenomenal accomplishment, especially on a ride like that. That's a little intense, for some guests. A lot of inversions there. But we wanted to give that shout out, and I think we'll add some more of those kind of shout outs when we see those accomplishments that the coaster fans and that are publishing on their
Yeah,
channels.
absolutely. And I shout out to Iron Gwazi as well. I'm sure Kalen will appreciate that because Iron Gwazi, I would say that and Lightning Rod are my two favorite RMC coasters. Lightning Rod is obviously unique, and for me, it's the triple down the mountain that really does it for me, or quad down actually, I think. But Iron Gwazi does not come with the level of discomfort that many RMCs do. It doesn't do that ejector air that slams you into the lap bar. So great ride. I was very impressed by it when I got to ride it. Cool. You want to take the listener question?
All right. Yeah, the listener question comes from Jerry from Wapakoneta, Ohio. It's the home of the Hickory Pit Barbecue. He says, order the cod nuggets. They come with fries. So we appreciate the tip there. He said, who has the most on the line with Top Thrill 2? Cedar Point or Zamperla?
Um, did you put in the thing about the Hickory Pit or did Jerry?
He put it
Okay.
in.
So first of all, Jerry, I don't want to school you about your hometown, but it's not really known for the Hickory Pit barbecue. It's known because the first man to walk on the moon was from Wapakoneta, Ohio. Secondly, who's got the most on the line for Top Thrill 2, Cedar Point or Zamperla? 100% Zamperla does. Because as we've discussed many times, this is make or break. Either they are a name in the industry or they're never going to be able to do a big ride again. Because this has so much clout and is such a big project and it's their way of proving themselves. So it's either going to be this works really, really well, or they'll go back making swing rides. That's my thought. What are your thoughts, Don?
Well, Zamperla certainly has a lot on the line here. Not known for attractions of this magnitude, but I'm going to go with Cedar Point. I think because of the history of Top Thrill Dragster, it was problematic from the time that it opened. I think after it was shut down, and now you're reopening it, reimagining it, everything that it has to work right away, and it has to be a reliable ride for them. So for me, it's Cedar Point that has the most on the line.
Well, see, my thought is this, and I was thinking about like the financial investment, and they have not released how much it costs, but I imagine it's uh, well into the eight figures somewhere. But the truth of the matter is, theoretically, if this doesn't work, Cedar Point could potentially find somebody else to redo it again, but that person's not going to be Zamperla. And that kind of feeds into my thought that Zamperla is the one with much on the ride. I think you're right. I think both parties have a lot at stake here. Uh,
Yeah, but I think for guest and media, I think the most on the line is going to be Cedar Point. Because if it, say you have media day for it and it has downtime, or opening weekend, it has downtime, that's all anyone's going to be talking about. So it has to work immediately, and it has to be reliable.
I, none of your statements are untrue. I wholeheartedly agree with all of them. But at the same time, if if this doesn't go well, is Cedar Point going to be hugely degraded in the industry because of it? Not in the long term. Zamperla will be.
Not in the long term, but it's just because of that ride. If this was a brand new ride, had no other past history, anything, that's one thing. But because it's like Banshee at Kings Island, it had to be successful because of where it was going. What had been there
Right.
before. So I think that that kind of ties into it for me.
Yep, I agree, but lots and lots at stake here. But thank you so much for the listener question, uh, Jerry, and from Wapakoneta, the home of the Hickory Pit Barbecue, where the cod nuggets come with fries. I stop at that rest stop rather often on the way to Cedar Point, so I might have to stop there to eat for real though. Uh,
Let's check it
we
out,
should.
Ryan.
That's a good idea when we're going up there for Top Thrill 2's media day or whatever. You know. All right, cool. Hey, this is another pick six. It's been a good one. Yeah, make sure you follow us on all your favorite podcast apps, Apple, Google, Spotify. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button on YouTube, and we'll see you next week.